My name is Tyler McCormick. I'm a licensed general contractor down here in Tennessee. I am also a licensed carpenter. I also, believe it or not, like doing these crazy YouTube videos and make weird shit. Today, I'm going to show you guys how to make a sturdy workbench using cheap lumber and also making it very strong. That is the key, cheap and strong. So I'm going to show you guys basically how to build the legs, how to brace it, how to make it square, how to lay it out perfectly. I will also make sure that you guys are not left in the dark with certain steps. That's our goal today. Step, 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 assemble it. Just like an IKEA furniture. Let's just get into it. All the materials you'll need today cost you about 140 bucks. I'm gonna show you guys. So you're gonna need 3 feet, 5 of them. So 5 foot, 5 of them at 3 foot. You're gonna need 2 at 90 inches. You're gonna need 2 at 87 inches. You're gonna need 8 at 40 inches. And you're gonna need 2 at 39 inches. All right, so this board here is gonna be 40 inches, okay? First off, you're gonna get you a scrap piece, okay? About 5 inches long or so. What you're gonna do is you're gonna put a drill hole right in here, okay? Put your screw in here, okay, just like that. Now, you're gonna go off that screw, you're gonna measure 1 3/4 inches. So 1 3/4 inches will give you a radius at the very edge of your 40 inch that you can put a pencil through. You can put a screw through and just mark it, trace it. What I'm gonna do here is, I'm gonna mark 1 3/4 inches, okay? 1 3/4 inches. Go here, 1 3/4 inches. Now that's my intersecting line, okay? Now I do know that right there, that deal there, center as can be, okay? So what you do is you take this that you pre-drilled, got that screw in there. You can run it through like that, no big deal. Just put that right there, right on that center, okay? Now you can do that. That is a gauge. So I just stick my pencil in here and just go around. Just like that, boom. I would not recommend using a jigsaw just because if you know anything about jigsaws, the deeper your cut, the more your blade is gonna shoot out and it's gonna make your radius uneven. I'm just gonna slowly make my radius. Now that you got that done, you don't have to have a sander, but I have one, so I'm gonna use it. Sand that joker down. You ain't gonna go crazy on it, just make it clean, you know? If you're gonna build something, might as well build it right the first time. You know, that way you ain't running into problems later down the road just because you made a bad cut. And if you don't, and say you do make a bad cut here and it's not completely centered, whenever you go to fold this back in, you might not sit perfectly up in there because your cut's either on one side of the center line or the other. Because it's gonna be wanting to sit up in there tight. So, like I said, you make 8 of these. After you get that made, we get wood glue, okay? Wood glue, and you get some 2.5 inch screws. I got 3 inch screws. I'm gonna show you how I do it with some 3 inch screws. Like I said, I would just get 2.5 inch screws, but if you do have 3 inch screws like me, because I'm a goofy, I will show you how to make it work. Because if you go straight in, your screw is actually going to pop out the other side, ever so slightly. So you flush this corner up, that way it's nice and good, tight. Run it in slow. Boom, done. Right, stop it right there. Okay. Now you take your next one. Okay. Now you know we're gonna be putting a bolt through here. Okay. So don't get up in here. There's no need to get all up in there that quick. So get you about center. Okay. Now back it out a touch. Now angle it in. Okay. Make sure you're flush on both sides. You can run it in because now you're at an angle, so you're not going to go all the way through that next board. And it's actually tighter if you think about it. So same deal. Run at a slight angle. You ain't got to go crazy. Just enough for it not to pop out, and then you're done. So what I usually do too, since this is probably not going to be perfect, like I said, I'll sand this down again. But once you get your first one made, for your other 7 boards, just slap this one on there and trace it and then cut it. That way you don't have to measure and do all the circumference, you know, all the radius stuff again. You can just use your first board. It's kind of like doing stringers. You cut one stringer, Then you trace every single one after that. That way you make them the most accurate as you can. I'm just gonna, like I said, tune this up a little bit. A little fine tune, nothing crazy. This should be all pretty dang spot on. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull from here, pull 12 inches from your bottom, right? Then you're gonna go 15 and a half. Now, what this is gonna do is this is gonna give you a 3.5 inch notch for a 2x4 to sit in just like that. So, just do this. Okay, now it's gonna get a little messy here for a second, but there's not ever a best way to do it. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna set our saw to 1.5 inches. We're gonna take this down like this, right to 1.5 inches. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this, we're gonna cut directly on the inside of our line. So what we want to do is we want to kill that line. So we don't want to go past it, we want to go right on it. Boom, go all the way through, okay? Go to this other side, boom. Inside line, all the way through. Now, what we're gonna keep doing is we're gonna take a little, bump it in an 1/8 inch every time, go all the way down the line. And always use a speed square, like, you know, always use your square, and you got a line right there, bump it up to that line, boom, square. Nice straight cut every time. It'll never fail you. All right, so now we got that, right? We got this mess. So this is a terrible wood chisel, but it's the only one I found. So what you do now is you get up in there, you break them all out. Break them all out. Break them all out. Now you're left with this little mess, right? So what you do is take this deal and just kind of shave them down a little bit. Me, I like to kind of go diagonal. That way it kind of, I don't dig into the wood. That's just mine. That's just my doing. Everybody's got their own little way, obviously, but I like doing that. It kind of planes it out easier. Probably not easier, but easier for me to judge it, because you don't want to start digging into it. But this is not a very sharp chisel, so mind me. So that's it, right? You ain't gotta be perfect. You ain't gotta sand it down, none of that baloney. So what you do is also always keep you a little spare block, set it right up in there. Be good to go. Next step, you know that little pilot hole we had? So what we do here, get you a drill, get you a 1/2 inch drill bit, okay? Now, you already had your tiny hole. It's basically a pilot hole now, but that's your center. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go down, okay? Don't go all the way. I'm gonna show you why. So you're never gonna end up going perfectly straight down, okay? That's why you do this one side, flip it over, you do the other side. That way you know you're right. You don't have a hole that's so angled and it looks terrible, okay? So what we're gonna do, 1 3/4 here, 1 3/4. Now, we're gonna take that, it's a reference line, right? Boom. Now we go to bump it up to here, okay? 1 3/4, 1 3/4, boom. Intersecting line, that's where our other pilot, or our next hole is gonna be. Now, if I'm correct, this hole and that hole is gonna meet up perfectly. Make sure you have it on there good. There it is. Perfect hole. That way it looks clean on both sides. You're never gonna fight with it. Now you got that hole drill, okay? Looks like I got a little sawdust on me. What we call that is man glitter, okay? We love man glitter. All right, so now what we're gonna do is this, okay? I already got it pre-marked just because sake of the video, I don't want it to be too long. So this is your boards that are cut at 90 inches, okay? 90 inch boards. So confirm, okay, 90 inches. Now, flip these up on your side, just like that, okay? That way when you lay it out, you lay out one board, and you can just trace the other one. So, boom. For wood layout, okay, you go basically you go 3/4 less. Then you put a mark and then an X to the other side, your lead side. So you pull, we're gonna do 2 foot centers, okay? So you're gonna bump, right, pull from here, mark 23 and a quarter, put an X on your left side, okay? And then you're gonna keep going every 2 feet, okay? So just basically pull 48 inches, pull every 2 feet, and then minus 3/4 of an inch, okay? So if you pull 48 inches minus 3/4 of an inch, you're gonna have 47 and a quarter. Boom, right? Make your line, X. Same deal, pull 6 foot, then go to 71 and a quarter, because you're taking 3/4 off, make an X. Okay, now that's your layout, okay? Well, you can go 16 inches if you want to. I mean, you ain't building a big old deck or something crazy, but it's gonna be heavy duty bench, is plenty. So what you do is flush this up, flush this end up down here, okay? Hold this tight, boom, your line's on there. What you're gonna do is do this, boom, ready? Boom, just like that. Now go down to your next one. Make sure you hold the whole time so you don't move the other boards. Next one. Next one. And don't forget to put your X, okay? That way when you do this next step, you'll know. So, all right, so now what you wanna do is, you wanna take this, okay? Make it pretty dang square. Get you a screw started, okay? Make it flush. So, get you another screw in here, make them flush, boom, okay? Now, next board, okay? This is the deal. See how I said, remember I kept saying X to the left? This is why, right there. So, make sure your board is on the left side of that line. Every time. Just lay it right up, set her down, get your intact. Make sure she's flush. This is really important. You always gotta have it flush. Now, see your X needs to bring over. You gotta bring her over. Take some finagling, but it's usually not too bad. I mean, I like doing this sometimes too, just getting my screws halfway in there, you know. Use your knee. If you gotta pull it over or something, then just put some pressure on top, down. Usually lines up pretty decent. Like I said, we're not building a damn piano, okay? If you're a millimeter off, you ain't nothing to worry about. But the good thing of doing this way is whenever we put our sheet of plywood on top, we can pull layout from the top and not have to worry about where it's gonna fall in the back. That way we don't miss any screws. We're gonna go corner to corner, make sure we're square. So corner, corner, okay? We have 98, say 97 and 7, okay? Should be really darn close to 97 and 7. All right, so we are off a touch. So we are at 98 and a quarter. So what we gotta do is shift it, okay? All we gotta do is rack it. It's not a huge deal. Basically what you can do is take this, just kind of bend it one way or the other, see what you got. Usually when I build these on the ground, I usually just kind of kick it and it'll rack itself, but not a huge deal. Okay, now I'm 98 and 1/8. Okay, 1/8 inch off. I can live with it. I'm not worried about it being an 1/8 inch off. It's gonna be pretty dang good. I mean, once I get a sheet of plywood on there, I'll actually throw the sheet on here and I'll just corner to corner and make sure it's flush on each corner, which is a sheet of plywood's a perfect corner. So it'll just rack itself once I move it and screw it. So not a huge deal. I'm not worried about that. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a 3/8 drill bit, okay? So what I wanna do is, since we made this table stout, I wanna be able to basically fold the legs in, okay? But if I basically did it on the inside, I wouldn't be able to fold in because of this, okay? That's what sets this video different from the other ones. The other ones are great. I'm a construction worker, so I have to have a heavy duty one, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna layer it up, okay? I'm gonna take this here. I'm gonna pre-drill about an inch in, nothing crazy. Do it on both sides, somewhat towards the edge. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slide this down a touch more because I'm gonna put some pressure on this whenever I screw this in. This is gonna go like this, okay? All right, so what we're gonna do, we're going to pull 3 inches, okay? 3 inches, one side, 3 inches, other side. Now, I got 5-inch lags, okay? I wish I had 6 inches, 6.5, but I ain't got them. So I got 5s. So I'm gonna pre-drill. This is a 3-inch, 3/8 bit. I'm gonna pre-drill straight in here, about inch or so, nothing crazy. That way it just kind of sinks down. I gotta get a little bit more deeper into that next 2x4. Okay, make sure you're trying to go straight in. So, boom, okay. Now we're here. We're gonna take this, we're gonna shoot that in here, that joker right up in here. All right, now we're gonna do the same deal over here. Remember guys, stay hydrated, you got to. It's too hot not to. Now, we got our 2 sides on, okay? Now next deal is throwing this joker in here. Now, obviously this thing right here could be angled like that. No big deal, boys. Don't get concerned too much. Just angle it out, pull it in. Okay, that way you know she's tighter than a new boot. Now, what you're gonna do is same deal. Okay, same deal as what we did. This time you ain't gotta be too crazy on it. So do one there. Probably outside of that stud. Let's go probably somewhere around here. No big deal. And there. Now we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Same deal here. Okay. Just running them in. This is what's going to make our frame able to fold in, or this is what's going to make our legs be able to fold in. So that's why I'm adding this and lagging it through. Okay. You can get a 2x8 and do this. Like I said, I thought of this after I bought all the stuff, but it's going to run you probably, you know, an extra $30, okay, to use 2x8s and do it for the same deal. So basically you just build your frame the same way, except you just build it once and you ain't got to build one on top of it. You just use your 2x8 for that. So that's all it is. Nothing crazy. What I do too is I'll work my way down. That way I'm going to show you. So sometimes you'll have a bow, okay? If you do one there, it's going to be harder to get it to pull, make it flush. So easy. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we do the next side. All right, so we got 4 bolts. Okay, these are going to be 6-inch bolts, 2 washers. It's all 1/2 inch, so 1/2 inch bolt, 6 inches long, 1/2 inch washers, 2 for each one. You'll get a lock nut. Okay, 1/2 inch, 13 TPI. Okay, stainless. You don't need galvanized, none of that. I mean, it's not going to be outside. So yeah, this is all came from Home Depot hardware and bolts section. This wood, like I said, Home Depot. Everything's Home Depot. So all right, so now these are what I had. I already had these, so I just kind of used what I had. But you get the square, the hex head bolts. Okay, you don't need this. You do, I mean, you can if you don't want to use a washer on this outside, but it's not a huge deal. Just make sure you waller out this side of this hole more, so this square deal can sit inside. Like I said, it's not a huge deal, but like I'm just kind of using what I had to save on cost. Throw this in there. Throw a washer on out here. throw this on. Okay, it's gonna stop about right there. This, like I said, this is a lock nut, okay? So basically what this does, once this gets on threaded enough, it's gonna not be able to come back off, okay? So that's kind of what you want. So like I said, it ain't no big deal. I'll show you how I'm gonna get it fastened on here in just a second. All right, so get you a vice grip, get you a three-quarter socket, 19 millimeter, 3/4, same deal, same shit. So just kind of get her locked in. Now she's locked in, okay? Boom. All right, so what we're gonna do is, I forgot to tighten this corner in, so just run another lag in here. It's gonna be real close. Just make sure you measure off. Like I said, this is 5 inches. Like I said, this is just locks this corner in. Okay. That way it don't pull out or nothing. So look at that. That's nice. Nice and tight. If it ain't tight, it ain't right, boys. You know that. Second to last step. All right, get some glue. Get some glue. You gotta be pretty. Just get her in there. Might be tight, might not, I don't know. Okay, now she's in there, snug. Get you a couple screws. 4 screws, fucking God's plenty. Okay, you can eyeball them, you ain't gotta be perfect. All right, so got this one done. Did the same deal. Took this out, put glue in each one, slapped it back in there. Make sure these are tight to the edge because they might bow in because your deal here. Boards are, you know, they ain't all perfect. So just make sure it's tight there. This will fit snug. Like I said, this will be exactly 36 inches. Throw the glue in there, 4 screws, done. Now, don't just leave this here, okay? Lift this up out of the deal. That way, because if you glue it, you're probably gonna have glue seeping out the sides just like that. You don't want it to actually glue to the actual bench itself. We got all 4 legs on. Now we have our braces on each side, okay? Now, next step is to add a spreader bar, basically a spreader to each outside here. That way, when it folds out, you can just have a board and it'll be notched and you just set the board in the notches and it's perfect. And it won't rack itself, it won't do nothing, heavy duty. Now we got all the legs on, we got that stuff down. Now we throw our square on here, okay? Make sure that is planed out great, okay? That means you're at a 90-degree angle with your actual bench itself, okay? Now, do that to the other side as well. Now, once you get that, take your tape measure and gently float over to the top here. So it's gonna be, basically it's gonna be about 87 1/8 now. But if we're realistic, it actually should be this. You pull from your leg, it actually should be 87. So 87 1/4. So that's 87 will be exactly perfect is what you need to have. We're gonna get our sheet on. So as you can see, the bench is pretty tall, okay? I'm 6'3". I like having a tall bench just because I have a bad back, okay? So less bending over I gotta do to do something, the better, okay? So this is gonna be about, I think this is roughly 40 inches, I believe. This is what she's gonna be. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna flush it off in the back. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make sure the back of this is flush with a little bit of overhang. She's gonna be 90 inches, okay? That means this here is 8 foot, which is 96. So there's gonna be a 3-inch overhang on each side, okay? So you pull 3 inches, right? Make sure you're at 3 inches. And you take your fingers back here. Make sure you're flush back here, okay? Now, you get you a screw in your back corner, okay? This is the key. You get you one in the corner, that way when you go to hit this side over here, if you put a screw up in here, when you go, because you're gonna have to shift that side down there, okay? If you put a screw in here, that means this side is gonna come out because you're not at the corner. You have to be at the corner. So right here, say 3-inch overhang, boom. Now, go an inch in, okay? 4 inches. Okay, right there, that's your corner. Now, put a screw in that corner. Okay, Don't sink it in crazy. Make sure it's nice enough so it's flush. All right, now you go to this corner, do the same deal. So 3 inches, right? That's your overhang. Inch, or you can go 3/4. 3/4 is basically center of your stud. It's not a huge deal. So right there, boom, shakalaka. Now you're got a square deal going in the back. Clamp her down. So we know where this is at, right? So measure this, 3.5, say 3.5 inches. Now, got that one set. Come down here, go 3.5, same deal, just like that, boom. Now, you have to have clamps in order to do it. Looks like I only have one clamp. So I have this vice grip from earlier. Just clamp it down. Actually back it off a little bit, paint it back to here. That way when you put your saw on there, she ain't gonna hit nothing. Now, we cut it. So now that it's cut, you can see how this right here acted as a straight edge. I'm gonna cut that. We have the 1 inch overhang, okay? We're gonna pull in 1 3/4. Boom. Now, we have a 3 inch overhang here. We're gonna pull in 4. Boom. So this is our crosshair. Boom, boom. This is our corner. Okay. Same deal here. Pull in 4. Pull in 4 inches right here, basically where your screw is. Same deal. We're gonna make a mark. So now we have that. Okay. Put your tape measure on that crosshair. Pull your 2 foot, and then take 3/4 of an inch off. That way it's gonna be that, just like we did earlier. I forgot. That's my fault. So basically, it'd be right here, right? That's your center. Same deal. 2 more feet, center. Okay. Pull your 2 feet here. That's your center. Pull your 2 feet. Now we are going to take our level. Line up with our marks, because that is where our studs are. 1 inch overhang. We're gonna go 1 3/4. Okay. We're gonna come down here, 1 3/4. Now, let's screw this perimeter off first, because we're getting ahead of ourselves. So line these marks up. Be off of them just a touch. Just throw you a couple screws in. That's sealing off. That is screwing the perimeter off. Okay. These are 1.5 inch, 1 5/8. I'm sorry, 1 5/8 screws. Make them flush. Now transfer down here. Same deal. Okay. You ain't gotta go crazy on it. Just, every 2 feet, every 16 inches or so. Now, see that screw? Boom, just like that. Make it easy for yourself, right? We're not, it ain't rocket science here. We're not doing, nothing crazy. Make it easy. This is easy for me. I'm tired. I had a long day. I don't want to do no more measuring, Like I said, it's usually, when you're doing a 4-foot sheet, it's 1 top, 1 corner, 2 in the field, You ain't gotta go, you don't have to put one in here if you don't want to. I'm not going to, just for sake of the video. Next deal, like I said, there's our line. There's our line. Let's get it lined up. When you do this, when you put this one in, make it go right here, okay? Because this is flush. That way you'll be that way you're locking in your outside deal too, not just your runner in the middle, okay? So I bought these casters. They were 4 or 5 inches. So basically that adds to my table height. I thought they were gonna be a little bit smaller. Regardless, that was about a little bit higher than really I actually wanted. So I actually just took a random number, 7 inches, took 7 inches off the legs. That way it shortens the leg, which would therefore shorten the table. And that would counterset the height that you add with the casters. So whatever you want your table to be, if you want it 36 inches, you just got to add 4 inches to whatever legs you want. Say you want a 30-inch table. You put your legs at 26 inches, and this will, if you do follow the exact way I built the table, this actually makes up 4 the inches, and then this will actually add 3 or 4. So therefore, just do it at 22 instead of 26 if you're adding the casters. If you're not adding the casters, then do 26. Basically, make your legs 8 inches lower than what you really want your table if you have casters. If you don't want the casters, then just do 4 inches. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a crossbar here. That way it doesn't rack itself. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna measure the inside of this board here and the inside of that right there, which would give you 87 inches, okay? So you go 87 inches, which is 7'3", okay? Your total is 96, which would be a 9 inches difference, okay? So what you do is, since you have 9 inches difference, you have put a mark at 4.5 inches, then put a mark at 6 inches. Now come down to this side, same deal, okay? 4.5, 6 inches. Now, once you do that, put a mark down the center, okay? Easy way to do that, 3.5 inch board. You know it is 1 3/4, okay? That is your sweet spot. That is your center. You back, come down and do the same thing on the other side. Come down here, 1 3/4, okay? Ain't no big deal. Bada boom, bada bang, boom, okay? Doesn't matter what side you do it, just make sure the notch is on the same side on both sides. Okay, and give yourself a, you know, you can give a little 1/8 inch play or something. You ain't gotta be dead on it. Yeah, you want it to be somewhat smooth when you put it in, but you don't want to try and fit it in so hard that, you know, it could possibly snap or something if you try to fit it too hard in there. This is what we're gonna do. Take your saw on the side if you only have a saw, okay? If you have a jigsaw, great. If you don't worry about it. Put it over on the side, go 1 3/4 depth, okay? Right there, that's where you're at. Now, be careful, okay? If it's just you, you know, it's easier with 2 people, but set your depth. There's your 1 3/4. Now, kind of the tricky part is, it'd be nice if you guys had a chisel, okay? I'm gonna show you a little, if you have a chisel, I'm gonna show you how to chisel it. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys a couple ways. This is the first way. What you do is, see how the edge is like that? See how this is flat, this is angled? You don't want it to do this way, then your chisel's gonna end up going that direction, okay? You wanna go with your grain and on that line. So really what I like to do is, I like to put it right here. This is a dull chisel, by the way. Just kind of show you. So put on that line and just kind of make your mark kind of like that. That way you got a little indentation going. That way you don't kind of come off of it. Okay, you got her in there. Now, put it right on that wood. Get you a notch. If you have a multi-tool, obviously it's nice just to bzz, you know, buzz right through it. If you have jigsaw, I will show you the way to use a jigsaw to do that. You could obviously just get you a drill bit, drill through it, and then put your jigsaw in the hole and finish cutting it, okay? Now, if you don't have a drill bit, there's another way you can do it. I'll show you right now. So basically just cut an X if you're only using a jigsaw. So if you cut that part of the X, get your blade over as far as it can without bending it. Start straight. And then get on your line as soon as you can without stressing the blade. And then just go back the opposite direction. And there you go. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get you guys a center mark. That way you'll know. So I'm gonna do it like this, okay? Get you a center mark. Now what you need to do is measure the inside to inside, which would be, just call it 30 inches. It ain't gotta be perfect. So just go 15, okay? That's your center, okay? Or what you can do is drop back 3/4, which would be 14 1/4, or you go 15 3/4, okay? If you do it that way, you can always just get you a mark and then get you, a mark doing that way, just like that. Do it the other side too. Now you always know where to put it. Now that we've built our table, if you want a cool little thing to do, if you're not gonna mount it to the wall, you can always get you a 4x4. Say you want to hold something to hold a lot of drill bits and stuff like that. You want to, but make it. Get you a 4x4, mount it to the back of here, pre-drill holes, and just put them in the slots. Easy way to keep track of some of your tools, especially if you don't want to put stuff on the wall. Alright, so now we've completed the workbench video. If you guys like what you saw, like it, subscribe to it, comment on it, let me know what I should do next. I'm on a roll, baby. Let's go.